What's going on, everybody? It is Thursday. Thursday, you know how much I love that day, you guys. It's been an interesting week. We've had some ups, we've had some downs. I just want to, before I get all happy and excited, I just want to extend my love and sympathy to my protocol, our sister protocol. I know they had a really rough moment this week, a lot of you heard, and it just felt wrong to start real big and not address that first, because I just absolutely love those guys. I know they're going to figure it out. I know we're going to work through it. So let's get this show on the road, guys, and let's start talking about stuff. So for those who haven't heard, THORChain is the world's leading Bitcoin DEX. You can swap 13 different blockchains across 41 different pools without using bridges or wrap tokens. You guys check it out at swap.thorchain.org, swap.thorchain.org. Anyone in the world can use THORChain, you guys. There's no account to open, no KYC is required, and privacy is a human right. THORChain has two tokens, that's RUNE and TCY. The fees for swapping on THORChain are paid in RUNE, and that's where the yield comes from. The fees are deducted from swaps, so you don't need to own RUNE to trade on THORChain, you guys. Currently, 10% of protocol's fees goes to TCY token holders. Remember to stake the TCY tokens in order to collect this yield. There are no block rewards on THORChain. The protocol's fees are real money paid by real users. The RUNE token is currently deflationary as 5% of fees are burned. THORChain is more than just a DEX, you guys. It is a programmable layer 1 with the ability to create smart contracts and apps. This app layer is being developed by Rayyk. If you guys need help with THORChain in general, please join the THORChain Telegram group. Links for those are on THORChain.org and on THORChain.org, you guys. You can join our email list. This is the best way to stay up to date with THORChain. And always remember, guys, this podcast is for information, educational purposes only. It does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. The THORChain community does not endorse or condone illicit activity of any kind whatsoever. If anyone has any questions or comments, and please feel free to come up and talk. Everyone is welcome. You guys can use the link to join. You can keep your camera off too. Don't worry about that. And with that out of the way, what is going on, boys? I hope you guys had a great week. I'm going to go ahead and kick it to my main man, Kenton. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, good, thanks. This morning we posted the marketing update for last quarter. And sorry, guys, but it was a Spider-Man meme between me, Scorch, and Seb. I was waiting for you. So sorry. We're like a month behind on getting it done. Yeah, we're going to do these quarterly here. And yeah, so it's on the blog. You can check that out. Yeah, maybe just a little few updates on STO, just like kind of like fixing bugs and just tweaking things. We're trying to get ChatWoot, like a chatbot, pop-up box for like help tickets. I don't want to use Discord. I know I'm trying to make it easy as possible for Sammy app. He prefers Discord. And we can have like a help desk thing in Discord, but it's just, you need to have a Discord. The user has to have an account with Discord, and not everybody does, right? And, if we want thousands or even millions of people using this site one day, it's got to be easy for people to ask for help. And, I wonder how many times people have used the site, had trouble that don't have Discord and just left and never came back, right? So, this chatbot will help us do that, where we can anyone can enter in a help ticket basically. And then we looked into having it connected to Discord, and we can't connect to Telegram. So Sam can get updates in Telegram. Hopefully that'll be good enough for him. And then when he gets a notification, he can just go into ChatWoot. So we're going to play with it. I'm trying to learn it, understand it, get him on board and any other mods so we can start dealing with our help tickets there. In the meantime, Chad, last week you created that help desk support channel in the Discord, so that's great. We can use that. And this MimbleWimble and Litecoin has been like our nemesis for memoless. We had warnings on there before, but just for when you were buying Litecoin, and we thought selling Litecoin was fine. And I'm quite sure we went through it before it was. And so we didn't have the warning for selling Litecoin, but it's there now. So whether you're buying or selling Litecoin on memoless, you should get a warning about using a MimbleWimble address. You can't use MimbleWimble. It doesn't work.
Well, it
But
should be fine the outbound, I would think.
well, that's what I thought. That's why we didn't have it. But apparently he lost like 20 Litecoin. And
that doesn't make sense to me.
can
you send me the transaction details later? I'll circle back on it offline.
Right. Let me write it down.
It should be fine. If there's an issue in the outbound, it probably has nothing to do with memoless.
Well,
unless I'm missing something, which is possible,
Well, me too, right? That's why we never had the warning on it. Yeah. And so now somebody managed to mess it up. So anyway, so dealing with that. And then the next, I think, major update we're going to do is add a few more wallets, STO. And I want to get those done and then work on like referral links. So for now, the referral links will just be like tracking. So when we go to hire some KOLs, to talk about THORChain, we can monitor the traffic, how many people are actually coming and how many people are actually doing a swap. And then hopefully eventually that can evolve into an actual referral link where those people can earn money, get paid. And so working on that. I had a good call with Erudite from Rajira about adding app layer features to STO and swap.thorchain.org. So my original idea was we have the basic like STO what it is today, and then have like a pro version, and then that have your chart and your order book and your open orders, all that kind of stuff, just like basic and pro on Kraken. And I think Coinbase is like that too. Maybe a few other exchanges. And so the pro version on STO would be Rajira. And we basically just, fork their site. And Erudite was like, yeah, I can do that. It's not, obviously it'd be great, but he would like to see us offer some of these Rajira products, but in a more basic, simple format, just like STO has. And he kind of walked me through lending, money markets, and CCL, and how we can have like a simplified interface for those, and basically abstract away secured assets. And so the user's just using native assets, a handful of things they have to click, but then still provide a pro version of that where they could go to Regi Trade and then have like full functionality and be able, play with all the variables, all that kind of stuff. And so we just kind of hashed it out, walked through it, went back and forth, and I think I understand where he's coming from. I don't think it's a bad idea. So yeah, I'm going to start letting that cook in my brain, and maybe eventually here we'll see some new tabs on STO where we're offering the app layer products. And my only real hesitation or maybe half my hesitation from doing something is I kind of like to see Rajira just get like, are these things like production ready? Can we go, big with them now? Are they going to be capped? Are they going to be any issues? I'd rather kind of see them test everything out on Regi Trade, make sure everything's good and going, and then start rolling it out on STO. And also too, just like getting stuff on STO done first, right? Just kind of getting the basic things done and before we add any more exotic features. So I think the timing is all coming together very well. STO is getting more closer to being done. We can start, Rajira should be closer to being done, with ADR 31, everything should be moving forward. Hopefully everything's getting ready to be uncapped. So this all should align pretty good here in the next few months. Yeah, so I'll stay, me and Erudite will stay in touch. So, Rajira guys, we'll definitely want to support you and help you and do what we can. It's more just like, we're just trying to figure out how to not to confuse the user, right? Do we should we have the Regira branding on STO? Should we just keep it all THORChain branding? But then we're going to have to link to Regira at some point to explain stuff and docs and that kind of thing. So just trying to kind of walk through the user experience that we're not confusing them too much. But that's just a hurdle. It's not a blocker, right? We gotta figure it out. Yeah, so that's Regira. Talked to the Blockworks guys. So they're gonna next 2 weeks, first week of September. They're gonna do an official announcement for the dashboard. Do a post on Twitter, gonna be in a newsletter and stuff. You got links to the dashboard now on our homepage. So if you guys want to check it out, if you have any comments, like let me know. It's our dashboard. Same with DeFi Llama and it's just DeFi Llama and Blockworks. We still technically have Messari, but they're kind of winding down Messari. They want everything on Blockworks. So we're kind of getting 2 for 1 right now between Messari and Blockworks. But it's ours, guys. If you think there's some metrics, something we should be showing that we're not, that should be there, or let me know. I think I think it's pretty thorough. I'm trying not to do too much because it's just information overload, right? And again, big shout out to Rayyk, you guys. Rayyk is a really big help behind the scenes with this data stuff. So I really thank him a lot. He's really good. And so he's helped with both the Blockworks guys and DeFi Llama guys. And another thing I'll give a shout out. He's been working on like the last couple months with Dune and Numi. I'm not sure how Numi is involved with Dune, but Dune was only getting data updated like once a day. And Ray figured out how to get it hourly. So that should help his charts on Ray Analytics be updated hourly instead of daily. And so anyone using Dune out there, we should have hourly info now. So shout out to Ray for helping. It's really good. And then I think that's it for me. And kick it to you, Chad.
Kick it to me. What to discuss first? I don't know. If anything you guys want to discuss first? I mean, the first thing comes to mind for me is 3.20. The vote is going on. I think we have like 50% acceptance at this point, which should mean in theory that the 3.20 is live in like 5 days or something close to that. And we're finally got 3.20 out, which has a bunch of fixes for like that are addressing some stability things and that kind of stuff, which I'm excited to see a lot of that. And we get some node votes I think we can start doing as well, like the POL system income I think is ready for 3.20, and I'm sure a handful of other things that are coming. I think my old thing here. Where is it? Yeah. Yes. Over-solvency is probably going to be flipped on as part of the 3.20 as well. Start cleaning out the over-solvency. And I think that's it for Mimir's, I think. But we should be ready. I think we're ready for XMR and Zcash as we want to see the churn start churning again. We start rolling those guys out as well as part of that. I think that's it for big stuff, I think.
I did have a question about XMR. So do we need more than one churn for XMR to get going? Or how's that work?
Yeah, I mean, we probably would roll out Zcash first, which would take one churn or maybe two, and then then XMR after that one. But we might need at most 2 churns, but I think one would probably be fine.
Okay, that's good. Perfect. Awesome.
Yep.
We did have a request, Chad. Play your ukulele. You've got some
where it is right now.
All right. We'll have to save that idea maybe for a future episode then. But you guys asked me questions I forward them. Okay, so that's how it is. You can't tell me I don't hold it. And I'm not a gatekeeper. You want them to play ukulele? I made the request. There you go.
You made the request.
So I did have a question. Someone wanted to know is the feature, the add bond yield auto claim using optional THORName affiliate collector payments. I put the link in the chat for us.
Yeah.
Can that make it to 3.21?
Yeah. I actually just added the milestone. I saw your question in the thing there, and I actually just added the milestone to it. So we should be able to get 321 without much of an issue, I think.
I love it. I love when you ask questions, you just get easy answers. We're killing it today, boys. This is amazing.
Trying to keep things easy.
Oh, this is love. I love
keep
easy,
shipping.
Man.
I mean, there's a handful of other things that I know I'm working on, but I think we should be able to get in okay.
What is the over-solvency checker thing you said earlier?
Oh, it's sweeping the over-solvency. So since 2019 or 2020 or whatever the 2020, I suppose, or whatever the year is, we just have an over-solvency of some of our pools. There are just more coins than the pool should have. And so we're just like sweeping up. I think a lot of that, I presume most of that is just from funds getting stuck in THORChain and then the Treasury sending the money back. But prices today are a lot more than prices were in 2020, right? And so the dollar value has gone up over time. And so it's just about sweeping that back into the Treasury to reimburse the Treasury the funds that it's spent to reimburse trades that happened early on.
Nice. Well, should we talk about that? Should we talk about the Treasury report and the Treasury needing money?
Yeah, we can if you like. Sure.
Is that included in that report?
I don't know if it's in that report or not. Is that the proposal thing you're talking about, or are you talking about something different? Something different. Yeah, I don't think the over-solvency is mentioned as part of that. I think that document, as I understand it, is really just floating the concept to the community of increasing the dev fund from a 5% to a 10% to help reduce the reliance on the Treasury, in a sense.
Okay. Also separate, so for the Treasuries to stop paying, so the dev fund can be self-funded. Okay.
Eventually, that wouldn't do it though. Like, we would still be it reduces it somewhat, right? Which is good, but it doesn't reduce it 100%. Like, obviously, one of the goals, especially like post the next bull market, whenever the next bull market happens, one of my goals is to get the Treasury to be outside of the process, and have the dev fund be able to have enough funds to support paying developers and paying the ecosystem and, whatever other things we want to pay for, and just get the dev fund built up large enough so that it can, sustain the protocol on its own without having altruistic, private money kind of coming in to supplement.
Yeah. What do you envision the Treasury would do after that then? What would it spend its money on?
Yeah, that's a very good question. There are a handful of answers that could be applied to it. I had a brief conversation with some of the Treasury people about this topic, although it just seemed like so far off into the distance, we didn't really spend that much time thinking about it. But it could be like there as like we could use it as for like LP purposes. It could be used as an emergency fund for like some future hack, knock on wood, or something like that. I don't know. To be determined, or we could put the whole thing in my pocket. That's fine too. Just kidding.
Flip it, Coke.
I think you're muted, Danny.
Shit.
Anyways, yeah, I don't know what we're going to do with it after that point, but we'll see how much money it is and make some guesses. But in the end, it's up to the Treasury to decide what it wants to spend its money on. And I just don't know what direction it's going.
Okay. All right. Well, then, is the dev fund what's going to happen then? Like, what's like, do we risk it running out of money then, and we get to talk about this and figure something out?
No, not really. I mean, you mean the Treasury or the dev fund?
Well, both. My understanding is only 6 months of runway.
No, I wouldn't agree with that. Like, so the dev fund is not very helpful. Like, it pays a little bit, but it's the majority of the money being spent every month is coming from Treasury versus the dev fund. So dev funds producing a little bit of income, but it's not anything spectacular enough to warrant the cost of a protocol like this one. So most of it's on the Treasury. How much Treasury the Treasury has in total, if you include the LP positions and stuff like this, I think it's like around 15 million, I think, or something like this. So it's plenty of money to last for many years up front, coming into the future. And I suspect that we'll have a bull market sometime before now and the end of that Treasury, whatever that is. And all that money goes from 15 to, in the next bull market, it goes, something significantly higher. And, and then we'll be, probably more prepared next time and just sell more of its assets into stables, because you want the bull markets to basically fund the bear markets, in a matter of speaking, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's fine, and I'm not really too worried about it, because we have LP positions, we have the over-solvency stuff, and we have whatever's in the account now, which is I think like a 1.5 or 2 million or something like this. Again, it's plenty to survive for years to come. It's not really a terrible concern this time. But we've always just kept a very kind of like lean team, right? We've never been a team with like a huge number of people, and if we had a lot more money on our hands, maybe we would invest into adding more talent. Maybe not even necessarily developer talent, but it could be marketing talent, it could be business development talent, it could be PR talent, it could be even like something like running a conference, like a THORChain conference. That's in theory, that could happen at some point. We've already done that once before, many years ago. Some of the OGs may remember that one conference we did a long time ago. But if we had more money on our hands, maybe we could do something like that. Like, it becomes a question of what we want to spend it on.
That's awesome. It's when, I don't know if you remember, it's when you and I first met.
That
conference.
I think I met a lot of people for the first time at that place, at that conference. That was a long time ago, though. But yeah,
that was 0x Saigon. He put it on, I think, right?
Yes, right. It's right. Yeah. And he had a NFT project, the THORguards.
Yeah.
Which I still have my THORguard. I really like it, actually.
Yeah, I do too, actually.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we don't have to stress or worry about things right now.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you mentioned, what's it called again? The system income that we're going to put, that was going to be pushed out to nodes and pools and whatnot, like the extra gas fees, a 0.02 RUNE, and just go straight to the reserve. Mm-hmm. We're going to have that paid out to like go back to nodes and pools and the dev fund and everything. Yeah, we're still at about 5%. That still hasn't been done.
I need to get on that. Really, that's my bad. I should be. I just haven't given it my attention quite yet. But it's just all I really need is just get a Mimir set.
But the way it works is, if the Mimir is set to say 10 million RUNE, mm-hmm. if the reserve goes over 10 million, anything extra gets paid out, right? Mm-hmm. And then paid out according to it's like a block reward. It gets paid out as block rewards, basically.
Yeah, it re-enables the block reward temporarily until we go back,
until it goes back down
below the number, or the max number is 15 million or whatever the number is.
So we would want the block rewards set up as very high, so that it's paid out very quickly, right?
Yep.
So
that's changing the emission curve to some value, which I have to do the math out and figure out what that curve number should be. But
yeah,
it should be some number. I'm not sure what number it would be, but
yeah. So we jack the emission curve in a way so that the block rewards get paid out very quickly instead of over 100 years. Okay, that all makes sense. That all sounds good. Except, what happens when there's a double spend by accident, nodes get slashed, and node bond gets routed to the reserve? If we're at 10 million, all of a sudden we get to 11 million RUNE, and we all agree that 1 million RUNE, that bond slash, it was a mistake. We're going to do a store migration, send it all back to the nodes. But if we have the emission curve set really fast, mm-hmm. that 1 million RUNE could be spit out over the next few weeks before we have a chance to do the store migration. Yep. And then we're effectively out that 1 million RUNE unless we dip into the reserve which is basically kind of defeats the whole purpose what we were doing here. Do you
Yeah.
have can we avoid that? Is there a way around that?
There's no clean way around it. I mean, it depends what the curve is. If the curve is like, pushes everything out in every block, then yes, that's but if it happens over like a month period, then we have more space and time, but even if it doesn't, like, when you reimburse the nodes, what is owed, and we now drop below the 15 number that we're supposed to be staying at, what just happens, it'll just grow back up to the 15 number. So you wouldn't get any like, block rewards, quote unquote. I use that term very loosely here, but until you get back up to that number, that max number, which is, let's just say the number is 15 million for sake of discussion. And so like you would just borrow against it, and then it would earn it back over some period of time.
Okay, so let's use my 10 million cap. So a million RUNE gets slashed, reserves at 11 million. Let's just say there's one block. Let's keep it simple. That 1 million RUNE gets distributed.
Which, by the way, goes back to the nodes. When it goes to like a million out from the nodes, and then the next block, 1 million goes back to them.
But it would, just socialize.
The problem is that it's like it could be slashed. This Asgard could be could be slashed versus not the other 5. That's where
it's usually one Asgard that gets slashed, right? So there'll only be 20 nodes.
Yeah.
And that million RUNE, let's say, gets distributed one block for all 100 nodes. And so those 20 nodes in one block, they get some of it back. Okay, then we go down to 10 million. We do the store migration. The 1 million RUNE is paid back to those 20 nodes, let's say it's a month later. And then the reserve is down to 9 million. And then as these extra fees and whatever accumulate, they'll just accumulate up to 10 million with no payout. And then over 10 million, it'll start paying out again.
The payout, the payout's like right now it's about 51K of RUNE per month.
Yeah.
This is not generating huge amounts of RUNE for people. It's just a small increase in that. And we can always you can pause the unbonding, right? Meaning that until the migration is done to the database to kind of move the RUNE for people who shouldn't get it, back to the reserve or whatever, right? You can pause unbonding, so people can't unbond until that patch is applied.
Well, I guess we could also pause the block rewards, or
you could pause that as well. You could set that, the mission curve to some other number. That's that's another way of doing it. There's a handful of different ways of achieving it. Really,
we could change the limit, the reserve size limit, just increase it to the new amount.
That's also would be another valid way of doing it.
Yeah. Are those economic Mimirs? The mission curve is
the mission curve is not, but that's an economic. But and that one, I'm not sure if it's currently voted on or not. But the setting the max, thing, I think that one is operational from memory.
So then nodes could act pretty quick to change it. And so then really we'd be probably talking hundreds of RUNE, maybe thousands. It wouldn't be that big a deal.
And if 3 nodes decide to be malicious and set the max number from 10 million and drop it to 5, or whatever, so that 5 million RUNE just gets thrown at the nodes or whatever, then we could ban those people and take their RUNE away from them for being dicks and operating outside the guidelines. And we can also just pause things. So you can't, any RUNE you make as a node operator, even maliciously, you have to exit the network in order to realize your gains.
Yeah.
Which requires a churn, which requires you to be able to unbond and so forth and so on. So it's it wouldn't be a practical way of making any kind of money, right? Because you have to finish the churn for you to get out. And then once you get out of the churn, the migration has to complete as well, which takes another 6 hours. So it's just not a reasonable way of, a practical means of attacking the protocol. Even if it did happen, like you run the risk of like it's not going to be profitable, and if you run the risk of just getting banned, and then all your RUNE that you did have goes into the reserve, and everybody else gets your RUNE. That would suck.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, then it's not so bad. Then I think it's a pretty.
That we should be able. Like, if that does happen, there are a handful of ways we can address it. Rather quickly. And the hard part is just the migration of like migrating all the RUNE and moving it from one bond to address to another address or whatever. That's like the more, because that requires code changes and like releasing new versions and the network adopting that new version, the migration being run, and that's the more time consuming part of it all.
Well, that's probably the next thing we should get going. Hey, one of the next votes we should.
I wanted it. I've been talking about this for the last like 2-3 weeks with the team, and I've had it on my backlog, and I just haven't gotten around to it. So, but I do want to get it done within the next week. But by the time we have at our next podcast meeting, hopefully it'll be done by then.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, then what vote do you want? Do you want to focus on right now? POL?
Yeah, POL is a big one. I know people have already started voting in some ways. So, but once 3.20 is live, we might call for a vote on that, and just go ahead and vote for whatever value you want to vote on for that. We'll see how the
so with them already voting, isn't it already? Didn't you set it up where you don't need a 2/3? It's going to be like the majority of votes gets the way.
Yeah, I think that's the change of that is in 3.20, which is why we're waiting for the 3.20.
Okay, because I was wondering, I'm like, it seems like quite a few people have already voted for 20%.
Quite a few already have. It hasn't really had an effect. Like, it doesn't actually take effect yet.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do more of an official voting rather than like a bunch of like rogue people just go out and voting arbitrarily to some. Not that that's necessarily wrong. I'm not calling those people rogue in a negative context, but like, it's not really going to take effect until 3.20 is adopted. So once that happens, we can call the vote and people can start voting and all that stuff.
All right, cool.
Then there's also like continuing the dynamic fee as well. Once 3.20 is out there, and it's flipping it on for like a larger partner that has more volume than Shapeshift.
Yeah. Oh, dude. ADR 29.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That one passed.
Yeah.
Finally, I think our podcast last week was a catalyst there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did pass, and I've been in communication with the SwapKit team, like Oleg from the SwapKit team specifically, and we'll be rolling it out as fast as whenever they're ready on their side to roll it out, which they told me a week or two. Who knows what the actual number is going to be, but whenever they're ready, they're going to let me know, and we're going to flip it on, and we're going to run it for a month, 3 months maybe at most, just to see what the return on investment is. And if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, then we turn it off. It's fine.
Yeah. I think it's a great experiment. I think it's, what's great is that SwapKit's excited about it. Like,
they're very excited about it.
Yeah.
They're over the moon about it.
Yeah, it's promising because and they obviously know better than us, how their volume and everything works. So,
but like, if you can take it this way, like if they're very excited about it, they see the value of like how it can generate more volume revenue for them, which that's good for them. That's not necessarily good for the protocol, right? But in order for us to be happy in this scenario, we have to be profitable from this whole thing adventure as well. So the pressure is on them to not just make this thing work for them, but make it work for us. Because if it ain't working for us, we ain't doing it, right? Like, we're not in the business of giving away free money to people. Like, that's just not how we operate. And I don't think the community would like to change in that context, I would assume. So the pressure's on them to make this work, not only for them, but to make it work for us as well. And so, give them some time to kind of kick their boots around a little bit and try a few different things. And, we can try a few different things on our side, maybe possibly, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see how this experimentation works, but time will tell.
Yeah. Well, and exactly, like, it's not. I mean, they're not dumb. If they know it's not beneficial for THORChain, we're going to turn it off, right?
Yeah,
like,
of course.
They lose the money. So it's like they have as much interest in us as making it work. So I find it highly unlikely they're going to do all this effort just to like get 1 month or 2 month of extra fees, extra little bit. I mean, how much money will they really make, right? So,
Yeah.
and if it's pretty obvious it's lopsided, we're going to see that, and then we
Right.
turn it off, we stop it, right? So, yeah, this will be. I'm excited. I'm excited to try this. I'm glad we keep trying these little things like this, and I'm convinced, guys, this is going to work. I don't see how this can't work when we keep testing and trying and innovating. Like, we're going to get there.
At the very least, you learn something, right?
Yeah.
You always come out on the other side better off, meaning that if the function if the feature doesn't work as successfully as you would like it to, you at least, learn why that is. And if you know why that is, you can think about that problem. Like, oh, how do we solve that other issue, whatever this next issue is, which is like also part of like what I was mentioning a few weeks ago in this podcast of like, just noticing that the pool price for THORChain is not as good as it is for, like, let's just say Chainflip, for example, because Chainflip has concentrated liquidity. And so they have a tighter way of kind of maintaining the pool price. We just made a change recently that allows the Rayyk side to help us maintain our pool price to get even tighter than what it is now. And by making it tighter, these dynamic fee features, whether it be SwapKit's rev share thing or the dynamic fee thing we do in the core protocol, both of those things should operate more efficiently and more effectively in that scenario, right? So, like I said, like, success is a terrible teacher. We learn, even if these things fail, they don't work out so well, we will always learn something from it, and then we can reapply our learnings and maybe tweak the design so that does work. Or maybe it's this whole design is broken because of something. Oh, okay, then maybe we try this completely other idea that works with that thing. It's always about like educating yourself about the market and what the market's willing to do or not willing to do, or the kind of weak points of THORChain's design or situation, and how do we address those weak points so that we're stronger. And it's all like I said, like these things are very, very effective. Even if they don't work, we still learn a bunch and we come out stronger.
The sooner you can fail, the sooner you succeed. And
Yes.
Perfection is a form of procrastination, and I'm personally guilty of that in the past, right? You get analysis paralysis, and you just don't do anything, and it's So it's good. I'm glad you guys are forward thinking like that. I'm glad the community is, and Nodes are too. Like, we got to try these things. We got to push. It's a bear
And
market.
by the way,
we
like,
kind of quiet.
When we were testing the dynamic fee with like Symbiosis and Shapeshift, we had learned a bunch of things in that process, even though the feature's still kind of like, being tested or whatever. We learned that Symbiosis wasn't doing their swaps correctly, right? And they were actually adding arbitrary additional fees, right? Which I just saw a tweet from Chainflip the other day, something about like Symbiosis being their biggest partner or something like this. There was a tweet. You can look at their tweet thing. You can probably find it. But like, part of that is because we're not winning any trades, and part of that is because we do three swaps in our Symbiosis, and they do 2. So they inherently got like a strong edge on us because of this reason. And none of us knew this until I took a deep dive into figuring out why we weren't winning swaps with dynamic fee models. We probably should, and we weren't winning. And I was like, well, this is kind of weird. And then taking a deeper dive into it, we found an issue, right? A fundamental flaw in the implementation of their THORChain and integration. And the same thing happened actually with Shapeshift, where they had 2 swaps, rapid swaps and a non-rapid swap. But they were both being rapid swaps. So there was another implementation, not a big deal. Like, no one's crying about it, but like, we had learned that, we have some problems with some of our integration partners just integrating with THORChain more accurately or more, So like, we've already learned a bunch through this process, even though we're still in the process of testing the feature, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Excellent. I have a question, you guys, if it's a good time to switch the topic.
Yeah.
This is about the app layer. So this is just being talked about right now. So let me bring up, so make sure you're correct. Basically the question is, when can we restart the app layer? And then Hans just said just moments ago that he has fixed the non-determinism in the BRUNE contract as well, tentatively. So, hopefully everything should be moving along soon. So basically, when should the app layer get started based on that information?
It should be fairly soon at that point, because we have to resume the app layer and continue to pause the BRUNE contract. I haven't reviewed the thing that Hans was just talking about that you just mentioned, but it sounds like from what you're describing is that they figured out how to fix the problem on their side. There's still a bug on our side from the base protocol perspective, which there is a PR open. I think it's like 5017 is the number of the PR, but which by the way, Hugin had found these issues weeks ago. But we haven't had the opportunity to fix, patch, and deploy whatever in that time span. But it's a good win for Hugin that it was able to find these issues on its own without even before all the issues came up on mainnet. But that the contract should be resumed, fairly quickly within the next 24 hours, I would think.
Okay, there you go. There's your answer, guys. Very exciting. Very cool. Love it. So, as I know they've been really excited given the volatility in the market today. We really want to get the app layer going again. It's like, yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah. I mean, the whole market, bumped up 10% in the last 24 hours or so. I think it's probably just because Scott Bessent is buying debt with debt against or whatever, but which is just. You don't have to
go burr.
Like everybody here listening to this podcast probably has already an understanding of how stupid the dollar is and how broken it is. And this is just another example of shell games things. Like, we're going to take old debt and we're going to replace it with new debt, and like magical things happen. And it's just like,
And congratulations, Americans. We did it. We hit $40 trillion in debt.
We did it.
We did it, boys. Bigger number is better, I think.
$40 trillion, everybody. And it's like, what is it like? I think it's like the interest rate is like 90 grand per second or something like this. Like,
that sounds low.
Yeah, bump that number up. I want 6 figgies. I want 6 figgies at least per second. Let's go.
Yeah, per second, which is just like it's now the most expensive thing on our budget. It's more than the military. It's more than entitlements and health, Medicaid and like all these things. That is the biggest thing. And the irony is, we made it like some kind of effort as a government, with Trump coming in. He was all about, Doge and all these things that we're going to get rid of all the fraud.
Fail.
But in hindsight, they actually Doge spent more money than it actually saved, which is like funny. And yet we're still here, right? And with $40 trillion and with the big, beautiful bill and how taxes are handled, it's just going to get worse every year because of how it's structured to roll out over the years to come. And so it's just going to be even making our $40 trillion debt significantly higher, just the way that thing rolls over the next few years. So it's like, the irony here is that every president is always the biggest contributor to the current debt. And it doesn't matter if the right wing or the left wing, for the last 50 plus years, whatever it is, almost every single president, might be a couple exceptions, but almost every single president is the largest contributor to the debt than any predecessor that exists. It's a fucked up situation. It's hard to fix.
Well, that's the argument. They can't stop, because if anyone stops it on their watch, it's an economic collapse, right? And they get blamed, right? So you got to keep kicking the can down the road and push it onto someone else.
It's very hard to you can either have to reduce spending, which is, it's harder. We tried with Doge and it didn't actually work, right? The way you can't reduce spending by firing at federal employees. That is what, 2% of the something crazy low. It's not, there's not much money there to be captured. If you want to reduce spending, you have to reduce military or entitlements. There's a handful of things, or you can increase our income by increasing taxes, which neither one of those things are popular things to do. And so there's the Democrats would fight against, reducing entitlements, and the conservatives would fight against increasing the taxes. And so it's hard to get everybody kind of aligned in a single direction because of that. And so we end up just doing nothing and just spending more and more money.
Sounds good to me. 50 trillion. Win 50 trillion, Chad. I'm ready. Let's go.
It's happening.
60. Oh,
and by the way, the higher that gets, the better it is for Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
Hey, big, guys. At this point, you can laugh, right? It's like,
it's a joke in some ways.
It's a joke.
If it wasn't so real and so destructive to 300 million people, 330 million people in the United States of America, it's quite sad, but also quite funny at the same time.
All I can do is laugh. I'm tired of feeling worried and sad. I'm gonna be positive about the collapse of the dollar. I'm gonna have a big smile on my face, guys. I don't offer financial advice, but what I do is I just buy literally anything else that has some sort of purchasing power that stays. Like literally anything else. I keep my dollars very low these days. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Your dollars
Yeah.
should always be low, even like always put in something that's a working asset. Not always, but you should have some much like in your checking account so you could like live and have savings a little bit, like 6 months at most. But outside of that, you should be putting into stocks or bonds or silver, gold, Bitcoin, something that appreciates value over time.
Or go full Joel mode and just go all in and just try to figure out how to live everything on crypto. Shout out to Joel from Dash.
Yeah, Joel does that. He's been doing that. He's been doing that for a long time, by the way. It's not something he just started doing, which is hard to do, by the way. So mad props to him.
Much easier to do it these days.
Him, it's not hard. So
to me, it seems hard. I'll say that.
I think so too.
Yeah, totally agree. He's on a different planet, that guy. Okay, great. Got that question. I have another question. This is kind of, you've seen it in Discord, I'm sure. This is a little raw, especially, unfortunately, what happened to my protocol. I'm assuming this is like some crazy concatenation thing with AI that found these 6 issues on my protocol, combined them to be able to, rug them of like, I don't know, $1.7 million or something like this. Terrible. There is talk, Chad. The question is, should we take the TSS library and go, semi-closed source, have it gated to devs and nodes only?
Yeah.
Well, I know you have an opinion on this. Why don't you go ahead and we'll go from there.
I mean, I have an opinion and other people have opinions as well. So, and not everybody, like there's some people on the security side that kind of want to keep things closed source, right? Because to be fair, from a security perspective, that is a better way of going at it, right? Even though the risk is not zero because we're running our GG20 implementation is a fork of a Binance implementation. So when they update their fork upstream of us, you might be able to assume to some degree that the same issues with us, right? Just possibly, maybe. So it's not like fully like that, but like different people have different views. Now, for me, my view is this: is that we are an open source project. We don't like trust, right? We could get into a trust me bro mentality where we're just like, okay, like the TSS lives as closed source and maybe we can choose to also closed source the Thor node code as well. And you have to trust me and the other devs, whatever, that we're not going to insert a back door that gives me access to all the funds, on the network and that I can just go ahead and rug it if I chose to, which obviously I have zero interest in doing. But that's partially like why I want to keep it open source so that that's publicly exposed, defined that way. The argument against it, which is also very valid, is that if we're closed source, it's really hard to point an LLM at closed source code that you don't have access to and to find some sort of exploit or problem and then extract funds from the protocol. I think the better way to do that, at least in my opinion, and maybe we'll do like a node vote on this topic, right? Like an ADR, like should the TSS library be open source or closed source? Because there is disagreement in the community about it, to be fair, right? But my opinion is to keep it open source, and so that everything's verifiable, from the entire public, that everything is on the up and up, and we're not doing anything shady on the backside. And we just have to be better about how we secure the assets, which means moving away from GG20 into DKLS or Frost, which means potentially doing the multi-sig with the 2 different signatures, thing we're talking about before. Just trying to get creative to find better solutions to the problem rather than trying to, make everything trust me, bro.
Yeah, that was scary. What happened to my? Oh, I'm sorry, Kenton. Go ahead. What I was saying is really scary what happened to my protocol. From what I read, they had 2 separate audits on this very same exact code. It's been 4 years, right? Been going. And then AI, just given, so we've talked about this in the past, chat, especially in real life, just the increased capability. It was a concatenation of 6 things, right? That's what did it.
Oh, I never
If
looked
I'm
into
not-
the depths
Okay.
of. I think you're
That's
right.
my
though. I think
understanding.
yeah, there were like a series of issues. I think THORChain had like 2 of the 6, or
Yeah,
whatever the number is, and so we're not susceptible to it ourselves, but because we didn't have all 6. But like, yes, I think I've heard something like that.
It's just really, it's intimidating, just the capability of AI and just how incredibly deep it can go and how many variables it can contain. It
Yep.
just seems far beyond that of the scope of even some of the most brilliant humans that we have. So, Kenton, I know you were going to say something. I'll kick it to you, buddy.
I forget now. I was listening to you. I was just say I agree with being open source. You know, that's our ethos. Because in theory, if it was closed source, whoever has access to it you could have like a backdoor and you guys could all steal the funds, right? That'd be the
Yeah. It depends on how closed is closed, because like theoretically we could have say that, okay, when you're a node operator, you're an active node operator, you have some, GitLab ID, and then we grant you access to the repo as an active validator. So the validators might have access to it. So it's like semi-closed, right?
Right.
But when you do that, obviously you're giving them access to the code. And when they have access to the code, they can run their own LLMs and then be the ones that launch the actual attack. So then it becomes a question of like, well, should it just be like the devs, like me and the other devs that are hired? And even if that was the case, like maybe I would pretend to be a dev, and like get hired by THORChain, like, talk to Chad and get a job working for Chad and be all on the up, and then but just get access to the code. And then then I run the LLMs and I do the attack. And so it's just like, there are ways around it, no matter how you kind of cut it. You know what I mean? But just a question of, is it like, are people going to spend the time to try to convince me that they can code? Well, although coding really matters less these days because LLMs is doing the vast majority of it anyway. But we still need strong coders to be able to like review code at the very least. But like still, like it would be a process. You know what I mean?
There was an idea floated by somebody, because obviously the devs are trusted. This is what it is, and that's always an attack vector, always. But the idea was, what about a 3-month lead time when it comes to new code, to allow 3 months where our own internal LLMs or whatever can look at it, and then at that point you push it, and there's just like a 3-month. So yeah, because you have new models being released all the time, so quarterly essentially.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. What do you think of that idea?
So just to make sure I understand, that's the idea of we open source with a 3-month delay. So you can't see the latest version, but you can see the 3-month-old version.
That's my understanding of the question. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what the value of that is, because if I wanted to be malicious, I would have my exploit that gives me, a backdoor that I can use with my private key or whatever. I don't know, whatever the backdoor would look like. And then just like take it out, just leave it out of the 3-month delay one, but just keep it on the tip one, if that makes sense. You could do that. And you'd have to have a clone repo and then update it every day, pulling from 3 months history, commits, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. You could do it. I'm not sure if it is that valuable to do that way. I would rather just keep everything open source, And to be fair, like we do check, like the way that Hugin is now designed, which has changed in the last few months, is that like when Hugin does the code audit it does a continuous code audit. Now it looks at like the checksums of each individual file, and so when that's changed, because like say I updated a file yesterday that does something, Hugin will then audit that entire file, as part of that process. And then whenever there's a new model that comes out, Opus this or, Fable, whatever, or supposedly Astra's coming out from OpenAI, that then does like a full analysis of every line of code, basically. And so we do just get the whatever the latest models are from OpenAI and Anthropic, and just get them to do a deep dive, which takes a long time. Like Hugin's not fast. It takes this sweet ass time to go through each individual line of code, almost one by one, quote unquote. And it just that takes like a week, maybe 2 weeks for it to go through that process. It takes a long time, and it does find stuff. Like Hugin has already found and fixed, I think, like 350 issues so far. And it's got like another I think like 150 to go in its current standing, and it's constantly just finding new things that just kind of adding onto the back burner, so we do have that automation process already involved. But the problem is, like, just because Hugin can't find the issue doesn't mean there's no issues, right? Like, Hugin didn't find the issue of the last exploit. It found some other exploit that wasn't used, which is completely separate, but it wasn't able to find the exploit that was actually used in the most recent example. And to be honest, I doubt the latest models would be able to do that right now. Do you know what I mean? And maybe not even in the 6 months. Like, the models are getting smarter and better. Of course, that's obviously a good thing. But like, he was not going to find everything. Neither is any LLM.
Good reminder for those who may not know, the GG20 exploit on THORChain, as far as we can measure, it was not AI. This was a very advanced cryptography attack committed by humans. So I know everyone's a little raw from the exploits and stuff like this, but that last attack was not AI attack vector, as far as we know.
I'm sure they used AI in their process. Like, that's
sure.
But I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think somebody could have just like pointed, codex and just said, find issues, and then it would find this particular issue. It would require a lot more deeper diving and like, conversation to dive deeper into certain areas. And I don't know, but who knows? We're just making guesses here.
Yeah, I mean, you can have AI to assist the attack, but I mean, from what I heard, it was just spoon-fed. Like, we used all AI models, we spoon-fed the attack vector and just couldn't reproduce the attack vector. So it was a combination, I'm sure, like you said.
It was a combination. Yeah. And like I said, we actually brought in some experts to help us track down what the issue was. Like, we didn't have enough expertise in our own team. We had to bring in external people who are even more expertise than we are, and to help us find the root cause.
I'm getting a lot of questions here. I'm getting pinged, about the open source, closed source thing. I think what I'm going to do, guys, I think Chad had a really good idea. I think it might be a really good idea to make an ADR and just have the community talk about it.
We can do that. We can have a community conversation, and obviously,
I think that would be healthy.
If the nodes vote by a 2/3 majority to close source it, then that's probably what it's going to be, right? I wouldn't really necessarily go against the nodes in the sense. So maybe we'll do an ADR sometime next week or the week after, and people can start talking about that.
If at least anything, go ahead, Kenton. Sorry.
Go ahead, finish, Danny. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, at the very least, it'll open the dialogue, because I think people just want to talk about it and
that's fine.
know that I think that, I think really it's just, this is something that's always in their minds. It's fresh with Maya, right? Six issue concatenation attack. That's crazy. I think people just want to have a dialogue, and whatever we do is whatever happens. But yeah, I just think overall be healthy. Go ahead, Kenton. I'll kick it to you.
Yeah, let's just pretend it was closed source and we had like 2 or 3 or 5 trusted people. Wouldn't that put a target on their back from the authorities that you guys could control funds and stop funds and pause trades and reverse trades and stuff?
Not so much, because we would only, unless the community wants to close source Thor node as well. If it's only going to be the TSS lib, then we wouldn't have any ability to, like, necessarily block. Well, maybe you could actually just like, would that be possible? Yes, I suppose it would be possible in theory, if I was malicious and I wanted to create like a backdoor that would block certain addresses hard coded into the code, or have it make an HTTP query to some server that I control for a list of wallet addresses that it shouldn't write transactions for, right? Like, don't sign anything towards these addresses. That would be possible. Or I could have it just like redirect every outbound to my personal wallet. That's possible as well. If I wanted to be malicious in that way. Yeah, I suppose it's possible. Yeah. But like, again, like I prefer open source for this reason. I don't want, if any funds are stolen, I certainly want people throwing my name out there as like, it's like, even whether I did it or not, like, especially if I did, I don't want to
really glad you said that. That's a very interesting perspective. I think many people wouldn't consider, being a non-core dev. So I'm really glad you asked that question, Kenton.
It's a good question. Like, and yes, I could be malicious, and I have to get the other devs on board with me and not have any leakers, tell the rest of the community that myself and the other devs are planning on stealing all the funds.
you being malicious. I'm worried
Yeah.
about Big Brother forcing you against your will type thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of thinking too.
that is an interesting question. So if Big Brother kind of pinned me and say, if you don't do this, I'm going to put you in jail or something. I don't know what the situation would be. I wouldn't be able to discuss it publicly, probably, right? I wouldn't be able to tell people that I'm doing this, and I would just create a back door, and they would just send all the funds to the FBI or whatever. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
No.
It would cause
There you
like a chain halt though, right? If I had redirected funds or I just
Yeah.
had it to send funds to me directly, it would cause the chain to halt. So the chain wouldn't function anymore. Maybe that's okay if I just code it to like just send, on this day, 1 year from now, just like send all the funds out to like my Bitcoin address and my Ethereum address, and then just steal everything on 1 year from today. Possible. Possible.
There you go, guys. No one can say that we are not completely transparent. Is there any more community in crypto that is more transparent, honest, and will answer any question? I mean, I think we deserve a trophy for that. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So,
well, that
Kenton,
gives
sorry,
more
go ahead.
reason to make it so that nodes can at least see the source code, because they can then vet that I'm not creating any backdoors for my own personal financial benefit, and they can check me and call me out if I am, right?
I wonder if the community would be happy with like semi-closed source, but just for a period, like maybe we're just going to do this for a year and then we're going to reevaluate. Maybe that be the thing that people can do. I don't know. Too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ken. Oh, Kenton, it looks like you have a question. Oh, it's a Discord question.
Quite so talking about Mava. But I thought, didn't you guys, I thought you told me, okay, maybe, well, all right, Koisu, maybe we can talk offline. Should we talk about the Maya exploit? I mean, it's when I saw that, guys, it just like my friggin' heart just sunk. It's like, it's so frustrating. Like, it just sucks. And like, yeah, it just really sucks. And I'm not, I'm not a big, I'm not invested in Maya protocol. So it's not like not from that, it's just seeing, friends of ours get hurt. Right.
Yeah.
And, but it sounds like it's contained, that they're able to stop it and they're able to fill the gap. Like, it's not catastrophic. It's going to be okay. Do you guys have any more info on it than me?
Not much. I mean, I think about 1 million or 1.5 million was taken, I think, or something like this, mostly Bitcoin. And, that's not really a lot of money within the confines of DeFi hacks, right? So it's a pretty small hack, still large relative to their liquidity. Like, I don't know how much TVL they have. It's probably not that much, probably maybe 5 to 10x larger than what was stolen. So it's still a significant loss for them, which is awful. But
and we touched on this earlier, and I've seen a bunch of people in the community ask, but this, with Maya being a fork of THORChain, do we have any risk of this similar exploit on THORChain? And you mentioned only 2 bugs.
Something like this. Yeah, it was one of the first things we did when we found out about the hack is THORChain. So we didn't even make the choice to like halt trading or whatever, on THORChain, just because we thought we were pretty good, on our side. So I don't know why there's a change between the two of us. Like, that they just haven't pulled some things from upstream, or they have additional features that were used to, because they have multiple tokens like cacao and whatever else. And so I'm not sure exactly the details. I never spent my time looking into their issue, especially when we had people that were very familiar with both, code bases like Osama and Sly and all these guys. So I didn't spend a deep dive into it, but I was, it's obviously very saddened to see the situation.
So there's nothing you can do to help them, Chad? I was thinking, I'm sure the THORChain community would be happy if you spend some time with Maya to help them.
To be honest, I don't think they really need it. Like, they're more than qualified to handle it. Like, I don't think I would be that helpful, to be honest. I think people they have there are good people, and they know what they're doing. I think my hands getting involved would just be too many cooks in the kitchen. I think the only thing I could do to help them out was actually get Hugin to work on their code bases as well as the THORChain's code bases. I haven't done that in the past just because of the lack of AI tokens. Hugin is a large consumer of those, and so adding more repos would just have it consume even more things. But I did make some recent changes that make it a little bit more efficient on token usage, so maybe it's more practical today than it was even a few weeks ago. But I'll look into that and just turn it on for some of the repos and catch any major issues.
Well, someone did ask. They wanted to donate some money to my protocol. So if someone would like to do that, they want to donate to my protocol. Alex did post addresses in Discord. I did put it as a pinned message in Telegram. I did also include the link that proves that it was him that posted those addresses. Okay, so just full disclosure there, you guys. And then I know they're also talking about the expedited launch of the Aztec thing, the app layer thing that they're doing. I don't really understand it. I know it's like some sort of intense-based design, some fork of that. I don't know if I'm not sure if they want us to talk about it. Maybe that's something they want to reveal on their own. I don't know anything about it personally, you guys. So
yeah,
but yeah. So I think they're gonna figure it out. I'm very confident they're gonna figure out. And they're gonna recover. It's just like Kenton, dude. Like, yeah, my heart sank because like that's family. You know what I mean? It really sucks. I hated it so much.
Well, especially they just helped THORChain get through the hack.
Yeah, so I feel an obligation.
Then here's your thank you. Thanks. Come again.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's just another kick in the nuts, and it's like, God, I just got over this first stomach ache. Now I got another one.
Yeah, no, the Maya team especially, because they've been basically running, support and maintenance on THORChain's mainnet protocol, and even staying stuff as well, ever since 9realms left a few months ago, while also maintaining, Maya as well. And so many props to that team because they've been put under a lot of stress and long hours over the last few months, and so hopefully not feeling too burnt out by it all, but it's a lot, so mad props to them.
Yeah, someone said in one of those, I forget, I don't know if it was like Ruggiero or something, but someone says, I know God reserves the toughest battles for the toughest warriors, but holy shit. They're like, Jesus, man, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anyone can do it, it's them. And shout out to them, guys. If you guys do any spaces or anything, or you want to help get the message out about anything, just let me know. I'll do absolutely everything I can to help you with what time I have. So, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Gosh dang it. It's a bummer. I hate talking about that. I really hated that so much. So, I don't know how to transition away from here, but
I was actually thinking about what you just said, Denny. Would you say God saves the hardest battles for the strongest warriors?
Yeah.
I like that. It's actually, I never heard that before. I like that saying.
It's a badass phrase.
I was kind of thinking about that in context of THORChain, us, what we're doing, the community, everything we've been through. Like, you look at the last few months, how many crypto projects have closed shop, or maybe they're still around, but they're basically dead. RUNE came back alive a couple months ago, talking about how all these different protocols are ghost towns, but THORChain is still alive and well. Like, I know it sucks, guys. I know it's tough, especially this year. Bear market is really drawn out, but like, we're going to come out ahead. It's not obvious now, but maybe 1 or 2 or 3 years, 5 years from now, I don't know how long it's going to take, but this is going to pay off. Our consistency, showing up every day. It's just not obvious when you're doing it. And then, it's like that's, you probably read this all the time online, oh, they're going to say you're lucky. After everything we've been through this year and last year, you guys, like, there's nothing luck about this, right? And, but they'll say we're lucky, 5 years from now, right? So, this is the cost of success.
We have the scars to prove it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we have like a missing testicle and a collapsed lung and 5 missing fingers. And I mean, there's no luck. You will be able to see the scars from a mile away.
And like, this is like this podcast is an example. That's why, Denny, I think is was good. You and I, we keep doing it. We keep showing up. We're getting low on guests now. We're booked out to October. Like, you know, we keep, and these are new guests too, right? A lot of them are fresh faces, and we just keep sticking with it. And like, eventually, things are gonna catch on. It's like a snowball. It just things will slowly, you know, get bigger, and we just have to keep the snowball moving. So, yeah, I think everyone's
thank
doing
you
a
for
great
your
job.
and thank you for your consistency, Chad, as well. And thank you to all the devs, all the community members out there. Thank you so very much. There's so many people that do wonderful things. We said Rayyk earlier, right? But there's just so many contributors. You have Koitsu, Sam Yap, lots of educators, lots of people on the Rajira side that have really got involved. And you know, it's just everyone just keep going. Think of new things you can do. Ask not what THORChain can do for you. Ask what you can do for THORChain or the app layer. Whatever floats your boat, or even my protocol. Just keep working, guys. We got it. We know the first principles are there. We know what we built. No one else has dared to try. Right, Chad?
Absolutely.
I mean, this is good luck starting this now at this time. So,
yeah.
And, okay. I've been talking with people in DMs. Chad, I think it's customary. We did talk about XMR update, you know, it's going to be a soft launch, right? Assuming it goes live here. I don't know if we want to attempt the weeks of when it goes live. We always get in trouble, but we always deal with the information we have latest available. But, you know, soft launch, you guys, low liquidity, could be bugs, could be issues, don't know. We've tested as hard as we can. We're always, I mean, they've worked as just, I mean, you guys have been working your asses off, I can tell. So,
yeah, we've been working on XMR a lot. Not just me, but also Boom was a big contributor to it, as well as, you know, Osama contributed a bunch, Slack contributed a bunch. You know, another guy, which I want to leave him nameless, but like, yeah, we've been putting a lot of time and energy over the last few months trying to get that one working because it's so complicated and difficult in so many ways. But I'm excited. Once 3.20 is there, we get the start churning again. That would be our green light to start rolling out Zcash. And then when Zcash is rolled out, start rolling out Monero. So hopefully it won't be too long after 3.20 is adopted, but we'll see how long it'll actually be. But it shouldn't be that long, I think.
I think that
Sorry, Denny.
I apologize. 3.20 is a huge step into the direction of XMR. Like now it's real now. Like it's super real. Okay, guys. So
I'm not aware of any issues to be fixed in this moment, right, today. So I think it's ready to go live. But you know, maybe there are issues that we fix before that or after it goes live. That's also possible as well. But like I said, I think we're ready to go. A lot of patches that were as part of 3.20 that got, you know, merged and all that kind of stuff. So I think we're ready to go. We just have to get Zcash rolled out first, and then work on Monero, and then we'll be live with Monero with a soft launch. And then people can start throwing money at it and seeing how it performs. And, you know, if we find issues, we can fix them and so forth and so on.
So originally, Bittensor Tau was going to launch alongside Monero. Is that still the plan, or is that going to be pushed out a little bit?
It is. So Tau and Bittensor is right now slated for 3.21. The PR is open, was waiting for reviewers like myself. So that'll probably be part of 3.21 as Tau, and then we'll be able to roll that one out. I think Dash is after that one, if I'm not mistaken, after Bittensor and Tau. But yes, that'll be the next focus for 3.21 is Tau.
And then I'm in group chats with Star Squid and like Xano, Firo, Quai, Pirate Chain, and like all the privacy coins. And like, I think this will be good, guys, to get them on. Because THORChain will become the privacy chain DEX very quick. And that's another feather on our cap. And, you know, something like an angle that we can promote. And so I'm really looking forward to that, hopefully getting those chains added in the future. I know they're not big, they're small, but in my opinion,
we may need to get the opt-in chain security working for those guys to get 2/3 majority of the current node set to be able to vote up, you know, one of these smaller chains might be an uphill battle. I don't know, maybe it's not, but I'm just assuming that it is, but like if it is, then we have to roll out the opt-in chain security, which has been on pause for a while now, as we've been focusing on other tasks or features or whatever. But I think I have to roll back onto that feature, which is a big code change. Like it's a very large code change. It touches a lot of different areas. It's got a decent amount of risk associated with it. So that it's not an easy one, and that one takes a long time to test and validate and get it right.
We do have an audience question here. I'm going to go ahead and put it up here. This is from Koitsu. It says, can Chad give a statement on what the plan is with LPs? Pause LP has been since the hack node, and we've asked Maya devs, but the answers are a little vague.
Is this to get people to withdraw like Bitcoin and Ethereum and that kind of thing? Is that the...
Koitsu, could you add a little, I'm not sure either, could you add a little clarification on that? Let's move on to his next question. He'll add clarification. What is the status of 3.20? Thor Swap team has been asking me that of yesterday. Oh, well, I know that. I could have answered that. Sorry.
Well, we just started the vote to accept 3.20. It's going live about 5 days from now. So it should be live fairly soon. For the LP thing, if it's referring to like how LPs were paused as part of the THORFi stuff, like at the beginning of the year or whatever, I think the mentality that like I think Alux had, because Alux had spoken with a bunch of the LPs about, whether it's A, B, or C, or D, whatever, in terms of how they are handled. And it seemed like most LPs were willing to just kind of sit on their position rather than trying to extract whatever little they could extract. And so I think the idea is that once RUNE hits approximately $5-ish, the synthetic units would be a lot less. They would return a lot of value to some LPs and so forth and so on. So I think we're just waiting for a bull market to help us kind of get back on top in that regard. That's the way I look at it, at least.
That's my understanding as well. As a former LP.
Yeah.
You just stuck at 0, and we just gotta wait. And we have so many good things coming. The POL ad, I'm really excited about that. I'm so excited for that. I cannot wait to have our pools getting depth, and that's also going to go to helping repair the damage from the GG20 attack over time. So I'm really looking forward to that. It just feels like a really healthy step in the right direction. XMR, privacy coins, Dash, Zcash, Chad. I'm getting freaking bullish over here. I don't know. This I know we've had a hell of a time, you guys, but gosh dang it, I just can't help but just think all of these wonderful, beautiful catalysts are just like right on the horizon. Like they're right there. Like you can grab them. It's incredible. So
Yep.
Man.
Yep. We're moving along. We keep on we keep on shipping, right? We're still focused. We're still like getting things done. We have struggles. We have issues. But those are bumps in the road, but they're not, they don't really stop us from moving forward. So it might slow us down some, right? Going over a bump, but it doesn't actually stop us from going forward. So we're continuing to think about ways that we can innovate and improve the protocol and add more functionality and make it more efficient and blah, 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 whatever we can do.
ADR 29 as well. I didn't even mention that. I mean, I think you're onto something here, boys. And Kenton, like you said, we just keep going. Just keep going nonstop. We just keep showing up. We keep delivering. That's the key to success. I think that's the recipe we need. And there ain't many more. I'm so focused on THORChain, you guys. I don't want to sound narcissistic, but has there been another community in blockchain that's gone through the hurdles that we've had, just like the enormous challenges we face and overcome? I mean, maybe there's a few out there, but it can't be too many. I just think there's really something special about what we got going on here, guys. So if you ever feel down and out, just remember what we've gone through and the path ahead, because it's looking really good, looking very good.
Well, it's one of the things I had a talk recently at a conference about like lessons learned from being in DeFi for over 6 years. I've been building in DeFi for a long time now. And one of the lessons that I had learned through that process is that like, when you are building something that people can believe in the vision and they believe in more than just like the number go up mentality, which is what a lot of DeFi sits in the number go up category. When you run into issues or problems, because you'll believe in what you're doing, not just that the number goes up, because then those numbers would be down in that scenario, right? And then everybody becomes disheartened and everybody leaves, and then the devs leave and the whole thing kind of just falls apart. When you see people believe in the vision of what you're trying to achieve, if the number goes down, that's okay to some extent, right? Because people are not just there for the number to go up, but they also believe in the vision. And so that's the same thing. Kind of a good example of that was this recent thing with Aave, where they had this $200 million, loan debt hole, and because people believe in the vision of what Aave is, and there's so much strong support for the protocol, they were able to raise the money. They were able to kind of fill the gap or fill the hole. I don't know if it's enough money. I don't know if they raised enough money for the 200 million, or they got all of it or partial of it. I'm not quite sure, to be honest, but they're a good example of they have a good vision that people want to believe in. And the THORChain shares that as well, being decentralized, censorship resistant, cross-chain swaps, blah, 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 all these things that are critically important for the health of this industry as a whole, not just for us, but the whole industry needs this to exist in order for it to be a healthy industry, or, you know what I mean? And a mature industry. So like, people believe in our vision. So even when we have issues or problems that would normally topple other protocols, it doesn't topple this one. For that one of many reasons why that's not the case, but that's one of the reasons why we don't topple when we hit hard times, which is a good reason to invest into like this community and this project, because just because we have our issues doesn't mean we get knocked down. We get back up again, we move forward, we improve, so forth and so on. So it's like it's a good when you can survive things and keep going forward, it's a good investment opportunity from my perspective. Not that I'm telling people to, buy RUNE or whatever. Just be very clear. It's not investment advice. But I'm just saying, yeah, go ahead.
I think you're right. I think, the hard times just makes a brotherhood. It makes a bond, right? And then over that issues, you have a vision, right? We're pushing for something that's quite meaningful and profound, and right, the ethos of blockchain. If that wasn't there, I think we would have collapsed long ago. If we were just all here to make money, if we were here just to have 100x or 1,000x, this would have been dead long ago. It's that spirit, it's that drive to go for the right thing, to really change the world for something better, to make a meaningful impact, to put a dent in the universe, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's just something that's so infectious, and it just really compels people to just stick through almost anything, really.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
Well
Totally
said.
agree.
Well said.
That's why THORChain will win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
By the way, our competitors don't believe in our vision, right? They
Exactly.
we don't share the same vision.
Yeah.
Right. And they don't mind permissioned systems. They don't mind being censoring certain individuals or wallets or whatever. They're actually openly for it. And I've proven that time again. We're the only protocol that I know of, except for Maya, that does what we do and still believes in the original kind of ethos of this industry as a whole,
Yeah. And that I'm convinced that will become known in the next few years as more of these other projects sell out, get stalled, get censored, whatever. THORChain will be that standout. We stood our ground.
But like, to be fair in that regard, right? Like, there is probably over the next 5 years going to be a huge investment or like synergy between traditional finance and DeFi, right? The Clarity Act, I hope it gets passed. Hopefully it does. But if it does, like, that's just going to create a huge green light for a lot of TradFi to get more deeply integrated into the crypto space, into Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum and Solana. Unlikely to be RUNE in the beginning for a handful of reasons, to be honest. But like, there's just going to be the flood of traditional finance to engage more deeply into the kind of crypto and / DeFi world in some ways. And that's going to normalize it. That's going to get more people engaged in these services than they're even close to being true today. And as time goes on, and people have more and more problems with centralized entities and them, holding their funds and not releasing the funds, and blah, 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 having all sorts of issues that we're all aware of because we've been around this industry for a long time. But most of the world that's outside of crypto that is going to be pulled into crypto over the next 5 years because TradFi is pulling them into that direction, they're going to learn that lesson and be like, well, why am I even using these C5 fucks? Right, when we have these really good DeFi protocols that have been around for 10 plus years, blah, 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 all these things. So it's just like, you got to have like a long vision. And I think the short vision is that DeFi protocols like ours don't really win in the short position because it's gonna be, all the money's gonna be flowing to like Bitcoin specifically, and like, Bitcoin backed loans that like JP Morgan Chase is gonna be like offering probably in the next few years or whatever. That's gonna be the focus, which is fine. You need that focus to happen first before the secondary wave kind of comes through. And I think, in my opinion, like RUNE and DeFi protocols in general are really more the second wave than the first wave when coming into the TradFi world. But I actually had a chat recently with the Treasury about like the idea of building a fork of THORChain that is KYC'd to get to get TradFi to mix into THORChain's kind of architecture to generate more revenue for the Treasury so that we can spend it on, the DeFi protocol and growing our team maybe or whatever else, and kind of supplementing our income through that methodology. We had that conversation. It seems like we're all in agreement. The hard part is just convincing some partnerships with large TradFi, organizations, and which maybe I'll spend some time making a stab in the dark at that. I don't know how far I can get, but
well, you'd have to KYC the liquidity is what they would want.
Correct. You're right. So it would be a fork of THORChain with a KYC element on top of it, meaning that only certain wallets could trade or add liquidity to the system, right? And that list of wallets would be maintained by some organization that's not us. That would be like Fidelity or JP Morgan Chase or something like this, or maybe some other third-party service that that I'm not aware of. But that's how that would be, a completely separate chain offering similar services. And RUNE wouldn't be associated with it at all. But the Treasury could make some good money using our expertise and knowledge about how to run a protocol like this, and then the Treasury could earn a bunch more money, and then we can spend that money back into THORChain itself, into the the RUNE protocol, and get more money and more and more investment in a sense. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. It's just something we were just discussing the other day, and maybe I'll take a stab at it with Randy to start talking to some like TradFi banks, whatever, and just to measure temperature. Are they open to doing a partnership like this? Are they completely closed to it? I mean, who knows? But
yeah. Cool.
Love it. Check out our studio chat, Kenton. Just a little important context there. Nothing that we need to address here on the thing, but Chad, there was a conversation in Discord about increasing the dev percent allocation, right, from 5% to 10%. I would be happy doing more than that. No problem. We just take a look from the POL. I know we said earlier and that we've got some money in the Treasury and that we're going to be okay for a while. But I think is the thinking really, if we do this now, it's going to at least stretch us out. Make it where there's more income to offset our expenditures, and then maybe THORChain becomes so freaking unbelievably successful that it actually it covers all the bills. I mean, that is
that is certainly one of my long-term goals, is to get off of the teat of the Treasury, in a matter of speaking. I don't think we're going to be able to accomplish that in this bear market. I think that's going to be really hard to do. I am optimistic that we can do that in the bull market, and then because then the protocol is producing a lot more money than it is now, and the dev fund's getting a lot more money. We can save a lot more of that into stable coins, to help fund through the bear markets in a sense. But I mean, whether we need another 5% or not, it's good for the Treasury to do another 5%. We stretch the Treasury out even further, and just give us more time, in a sense, more runway, which that's never bad, right? The question is, it comes down to there's a lot of changes happening to the node operators in terms of what their cuts are, right? We just added, the marketing fund was added a few months ago, for example, for 5%, and we have the 5% burn, and now we have the POL system income. That's going to be some, non-small figure likely, and so I can understand if node operators are getting a little bit maybe uneasy with the amount of money we've been talking about, and just another 5% here, another 5% there, and kind of keeping keep cutting things off the top. So it's going to be a discussion to figure out what we want to do about all this. But I think the proposal that was thrown to Discord was just a way of just kind of getting a temperature read. I don't think there's going to be an ADR on that anytime soon necessarily.
Sure.
But just to kind of get a temperature read and present some information in a PowerPoint presentation that shows what we've been spending and what we are looking to, how we're looking to supplement all this and so forth and so on. That's up to the community if they wanted to cut another 5% towards. If it was my opinion, I would get rid of the burn and give that 5% to the Treasury. And that would be probably that 5% to the Treasury versus a burn would be a much more efficient use of that capital, right? In terms of instead of spending where that money goes. You're burning it. It goes to everybody, including cold wallets that have been dead for, the whole time and they lost their private keys in some cases, to putting that money directly towards the Treasury, which that can be reinvested into, developers and community and ecosystems and marketing potentially and whatever other things we want to spend it on.
Yeah. I think I know people they're partial to the burn. I just think we got to reduce it, you guys. I just 5% at this point, given, all the heartache we've gone through, we really need to maximize the efficacy of the revenue that the protocol generates. I definitely want money going to POL. That's working capital, right? That's very important. Deepening the pools, better price execution, making money like on arbitrage, things like this. Like, it's just a really good idea. Yeah, I totally side with you on this issue. I just, burning money right now, it's like if we were super successful, I think, Kenton, you've mentioned this in the past, like if we have like just so much money of crazy volume, we got really deep pools everywhere. Yeah, like flip on the burn. I don't care. Like that might be a really fun thing to do, but I just don't think we're there yet.
Well, it's when you don't have another use for the capital.
Right.
It's basically when it's good, right? Okay, may as well burn.
Exactly.
And even then, in that environment, RUNE is probably overvalued, so it's probably not a great buy, right? So why buy it and burn it? You should probably just be buying and selling, building up a cash position. And then in the bear market, maybe you buy a bunch of RUNE and burn it. But yeah, the capital probably is much better use than being burned right now. And keep in mind, guys, we just burned like 7 million RUNE. That's like 2 or 3 years worth of burn at the current rate.
That's true.
So I would have much rather seen that RUNE go to the dev fund than be burnt. We didn't need to burn that. There was no. I understand it's probably easy from the accounting point of view to sort out the accounting from the hack. I get it. So I'm not trying to criticize you guys for doing that. But if it was easy to do, all that RUNE should have gone to the dev fund. And so if we get rid of the burn, you can't. Like, we preemptively burnt a lot of coins, you guys. It's not, it's like, I think it's about 3 years worth of burn, and what didn't do anything to the price. So, it's not gonna, if we get rid of the burn, it's not like it's gonna wreck the RUNE price or anything like that. It'll be fine. Yeah.
If you work out the numbers, like the amount of RUNE we're talking about that gets burned is so small, and to an asset that has millions upon millions of dollars per bought and trade in a 24-hour period, it has. And even like if you remove the burn and then instead of burning it, it just goes like as system income to the nodes, whatever. The nodes don't just sell every RUNE they earn and then into the market. Like, it doesn't even, it creates like very small sell pressure. It's much smaller than the 5% we're talking about. I would assume it to be like, I don't know the actual numbers, didn't look it up, but like I would assume it to be like 5% of the 5%. Like it has almost so little effect on the actual coin from a mathematical perspective, and most of the value we get out of this whole burn thing is really more of a psychological thing than it is an actual real thing.
Well, not only do we, forgive me on the exact numbers, but kind of ballparking, I think we burned 7 million RUNE and moved 7 million RUNE to the reserve. So the circulating supply went down by 14 million RUNE. And, I'm rounding, guys. But so not only has that RUNE been burned, but now we have extra in the reserve. Like, here's another way to look at it. Maybe we keep their burn, just keep everyone happy, keep the peace. But that 7 million rune extra in the reserve, that's like we're saving it for the dev fund. And then when you guys need to top up whatever, we can issue you 1 million rune. And we can just keep spitting out, we've got that 7 million rune sitting in the reserve. That would bring us back down to the original reserve size before the hack. And 7 million rune right now at 40 cents, that's still $3 million. Like, that should be a lot of runway. And you don't need that all today. Hopefully rune's going to go up in price over the next year or two, right? And so that 7 million rune hopefully keep you guys going a long time. If for some reason it isn't, we can even mint another 7 million rune. And then we're back to where we started pre-hack, as far as the token supply is concerned. So and then meanwhile, keeping the 5% burn, right? So in theory, in essence, we've got 14 million rune to kind of play with there. And that's got to be more than enough to keep the dev fund going here for the foreseeable future. And keep the burn if we want, if people are that strong about it.
I mean, my hope is that we should have plenty of money in the dev fund / treasury to last us for, until the next bull market, whenever that's happened. Like, we're already kind of late because the last bull market wasn't since 2021, unless you're a Bitcoiner, then it was in 2024, or I think, whatever it was. But it's been years. It's been almost 5 years since our last bull market, which is, relative to history, a long time, right? So we're kind of overdue for one, and in some sense. Are we going to go another 5 years without a bull market? I don't know. I suppose it's possible, but I've not a clue. But we should have plenty of money to get us to the next bull market, and the next bull market just changes everything. So then everybody's in the money at that point, and you can,
well, and then we should talk about it now. Everyone's got to be disciplined and sell. We all have to sell, right? And the Treasury got to sell some. We got marketing fund. We all got to, whatever burden we have, we got to raise cash, and have the cash to get us through the next bear. So that's what kills us, sitting in RUNE. At some point we'll have to sell it. So
that's the responsible thing to do, is to sell it into a strong market.
Yeah.
So you make sure you have the capital to last longer. But again, this is also one of the reasons why I'm trying to get us off of the Treasury. One of my long-term goals is to get the dev fund to be self-sufficient. And right now it's nowhere even close. Even if we were to double from 5% to 10%, it still wouldn't be enough money to pay everybody the salaries and whatnot. So that's partially one of the reasons why I've been pushing for the rev share and dynamic fee model, is because hopefully these things can increase volumes, can increase revenue, and make that 5% that the dev fund's currently getting, stretch a bit further, so that we're well positioned to the next bull market when it comes. So we're, getting a lot more volume than if we just didn't do anything now and just sat on our hands for the next, 6 months to a few years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, this is why I spend a lot of my time just trying to figure out what changes can we make to the protocol to better position us for our future and get a larger percentage of the trade volume, and so that we get a higher percentage of when the bull market happens, and there's lots of more trading happening, which I assume is going to happen at some point in the future. We're just have a much better position. We've spent the time and energy to invest into the protocol and make our advancements and innovations now, so we can catch more on the upswing.
Yeah. And speaking of the upswing, Kenton, you've done so much groundwork, man, all the different dashboards and everything like this. Because one thing I like to remind people is we really haven't had, up until very recently, something to actually market. We haven't had an interface, right? That's crazy to think about, for years, right?
Yeah, there was for most of our history. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was what's so frustrating with the hack, because I just got the website done, and then we had the hack, and I was just getting ready to actually, now I can actually really promote it, right? Start spending the money, drive traffic to it. Then the hack happened, and it just set everything back. And so I'm really looking forward to Monero getting live, and then we can start trying to promote that. And Like you said, Chad, especially if the revenue goes up, then I get more money to play with. Start experimenting with KOLs, other publications. Really, you got to pay. It's just that simple. You got to pay to get the message out. Like one article to get published is anywhere from 500 to 1,500 for one article.
Mm-hmm.
And I can do the cheaper one, but then it has less distribution, lower quality website, right? If I want better visibility, I got to pay 1,500. So those things add up pretty quick. But I will do it. I am doing it. And we just got to get, consistently getting that content out there. It's not like one article. Well, I mean, one could go viral, I guess, but it's a cumulative effect, right? Just getting this content out there. But yeah, so it sucked with the hack. It just was finally kind of ready to actually start doing real outreach, but we got set back. So, but Monero, I think that's what I'm saving the firepower for Monero. So we can start trying to get some eyes on that.
Are you going to do it immediately, or how much time are you going to wait before you start firing some things on Monero?
Immediately. So like with Market Across, when I hired them to do PR for the hack, we've been getting some articles out there. So the goal basically with PR is we can't change the FUD, right? We can't stop people talking negatively about THORChain or whatever. The solution to pollution is dilution, right? So we have to just overwhelm the internet with positive articles about THORChain. So when people search THORChain, positive stuff comes up, not negative. And so that's the agenda, right? Is to just put out a bunch of positive articles, and then but we can kind of dictate, the topic, right? And so I want to do articles on Monero, and but not till it actually launches. And even then, I was thinking, well, we should probably wait a month or two till it's stable, right? Denny, you keep warning people that when the pool is new, be careful. But I really like talking to you guys about the other day, calling it a soft launch. I think that's perfect, right? We can call it a soft launch. We can start talking about it right away. That preemptively warns people, okay, this is new, right? Don't be retarded. So yeah, I want to start when the pool's live. I want to start getting some soft launch articles out there and get people talking about it. And then and I use Market Across, by the way, because I've been multiple people telling me they're the best, and they've been okay. They've been all right. But after they're done, I want to bring it back in house a bit. And I've got the Lemur Labs guys. We're sitting on a whole bunch of articles. I would pay to get those out ourselves. The issue is just relationships. To get what you get with Market Across is they have relationships with journalists.
Yeah.
And it's easier to get the articles into those publications as opposed to maybe us doing it as outsiders. But at least us as outsiders, I can do it a bit cheaper. And so we can try that. And then KOLs, I want to experiment with some KOLs with Monero, tell their audience, talk about it. And I know, guys, I get it. Some are good, some are bad, some are a waste of money, but I've had some not bad pitches. And again, we just have to get the message out in front of as many people as possible on all different channels. So if there's anything good with the bear market, is everyone's prices have come down. And so and then the bad ones are, they're withering away. They're changing to AI, whatever, right? The KOLs that are actually not bad still have an audience. They're still in crypto, and their prices have come down. So, I want to try some of them too. But yeah, I think that's probably our best. Monero is probably going to be our most punchy headline, right? To try and get people.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. That's gonna be another source of revenue, and like the two main KPIs I focus on the most are volume and revenue. Like those are the two numbers I want to pump the most than any other number. That includes a room price, by the way. But like getting Monero will hopefully pump both of those things as part of that.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. You guys, if you have any other questions, we're coming up to 2 hours. We're a little away from that. Please give them to me now. I think I've asked all the questions that have been given to me through the week. Thank you guys very much for doing that. Appreciate it. A lot of great questions. Some many questions. I hope you guys understand that they were duplicates and they were addressed earlier in the show. So there will be timestamps, obviously, if you guys want to go back and see what the answers to those were. Gosh dang it, you guys. I don't know if I have much else. This has been a really great episode. I'm really looking forward to it, Chad. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens with ADR 29. SwapKit thing, that's got me so freaking excited. XMR,
Yep.
Zcash, Bittensor, and then there was so many things actually in 3.20, if I remember. Gosh dang it, if I only I can remember.
I forget what's actually in it, to be honest.
It's
It's a pretty large.
It's huge, man. Let me see here. Solana fixes, no more archive RPCs, no more unjustified solvency slashes. Protocol owned liquidity Mimirs changed operational. Stable reserve feature added. Tor anchor USD assets to swap 1-to-1 to others. More robust API calls, which prevents timeouts, better user experience, higher chance for winning quotes. The XMR, of course, lots of bugs fixes related to all kinds of edge cases. Deterministic swap queue ordering, which makes swap queue ordering predictable and allows arbitrageurs to handle rapid swaps much better. All kinds of stuff. Hopefully I got that right. Thank you, Devel. That was definitely your list that you sent me. You can correct anything I got anything wrong there, Chad.
Well, we had 53 code changes merged into this release, which is a good amount. Like if you even just go look at any other protocol out there, I think you'd be hard pressed to find a one that has more active development than this one, to be honest with you. But let's say we are the number one necessarily in the industry, whatever. But I would most other open source protocols that I've seen, like it's like a commit a week, you know what I mean, or something like this. It's not much.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, guys, I'm checking one last time for questions. I am not seeing any questions, you guys. Do you guys, is there anything else, Chad, that you want to talk about that we have not addressed whatsoever?
No, not really. I'm just excited for 3.20 to finally get launched.
God, me too.
And with that, we can start rolling out things we've been kind of waiting for blocking on 3.20. So getting, new chains added, getting, we're continuing the rev share. Sorry, the dynamic fee model testing thing, getting rev share actually functioning as well as part of this. And I mean, there's just like so many things that we've been waiting for, but it's just been a slog to get it through all the testing and verification and all the problems, fix all the issues we've been seeing in mainnet, and I had a lot of stability things in there as well, of course. So it's just like, I've been waiting way too long for this.
Man, I almost forgot what it's like to churn. But here we go, you guys. We're going to be churning soon. I cannot wait for that. Awesome. Kenton, did you have anything else, brother, or anything?
No, that's good. I'm good.
All right, guys. How about you? Going to wrap up the show? What do you think?
Sure. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Cool. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you again, everyone. Appreciate it so very much. For THORChain data and insights, follow at Rayyk Analytics. That's Rayyk, the one we've been talking about earlier. Super helpful, you guys. This guy's an absolute Chad when it comes up in Kenton and a variety of other things. Please follow at Rayyk Analytics on X. He does written recaps of these podcasts, guys. And always remember, the views expressed are solely of the hosts and guests. Any action taken based on this information is at your own risk. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and the THORChain community does not endorse or condone a illicit activity of any kind whatsoever. We freaking hate criminals, you guys. You better believe it. This Saturday, Unstoppable Wallet. We're going to be having Rayyk. Rayyk is coming back. We're going to be talking to him. Can't wait for that. And then the next Saturday, Rujira, guys, heads up. We're going to be having a CCL, Custom Concentrated Liquidity Demonstration by Pragmatic Monkey. Really excited for that. Thank you guys so very much for hanging out with us today, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week. We will see you Saturday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.